Welcome to all of you to this orientation for Alex for the Christian Church in Oregon and Southwest Idaho. Know that some folks have struggled to kind of figure out how to do this, and so just wanted to take some time to walk through it with you all. I am a high context person, and so I really needed to understand why we were doing what we were doing on this. And so as I explored, that was kind of a big priority for me. What I found, so I know there's a why for the general church. I know there's a why for the regional church, and I wanted to know what the why was for my own personal congregation. And what I found was that it eventually will offer some pretty cool data about what happens in the life of our congregation as far as patterns of attendance and patterns of giving are concerned. And I've been in a lot of meetings where we sort of talk about, has, giving gone down at this time of year all the time, or has attendance gone up at this time of year all the time? And we sort of have opinions about that, but we don't have hard numbers to go with it. And what Alex will provide us is hard numbers to go with that. Unfortunately, it will take us a little while to get those patterns developed so that we can actually see them. But that's for me as a local congregation pastor, that's a real benefit for this, for me to understand kind of the ebb and flow of a congregation over years. And already we are seeing some. It does require that you enter weekly in order to see that. And sometimes that's hard, but this is a Medford First Christian Church's homepage. And so starting out, the thing that I have to do all the time is hit these three bars right here, because I don't know what any of this stuff means because I don't get on here often enough. So we have these three bars. Now I have words to go with my icons. That makes me very happy. And so the first one I want to look at is our home screen, which is this one right here. And so I am able to see all the time whether my church's information is accurate to the general church. This is our address. This is our current phone number. This is our website. This is the region we're in. That is my email address, and that is my congregation's email address. So yay, things are working. It also gives me a glance at my attendance and giving. And normally there is a blue line here that isn't here today. So I don't know what's going on with that, but of course, that's technology. So this is just showing our attendance right now, and you can go on, and every bullet point is a day. So this high one right here, this was Easter Sunday. So we have that. We can write notes about what was happening, so we might understand better what was going on a particular Sunday if they look different. So that's your homepage. That gives you a general idea of kind of the patterns that you're going in currently. Normally, what I have found useful is when both the attendance and the giving are present. It's kind of interesting to see how they flow together and how they don't flow together. Ours don't seem to correlate, which may actually be a symptom of COVID, because people have started sending in their offerings instead of bringing them to church, but it's hard to know. Then you come down, I'm going to skip down a couple to this bar, which is only attendance. And we'll see right now what we saw before, but also down here nicely gives us our average attendance, our 4-week total, our year total, just kind of a helpful little information. We can go to giving and only see that. So again, we have some good stuff here. So one of the things that we have found, so we've actually paid DMF out of our budget, but it doesn't show up here because it isn't currently in the a part of our offerings, but that will all catch up. So we'll get there. Gives you a kind of bird's eye view of what's going on there. Want to back up. This weekly recording is probably the place that most of you will spend time. For the entries that we've made so far, it says that I'm the submitter because my name is attached to the account. I actually do not submit them. We have a volunteer that does that. So if I'm ready to make an entry for this week, I go up here to add entry and click that. It takes me to this window. I put in the day, the date of the Sunday, how many were in attendance, and what our congregation has done. I know this is a ongoing conversation about attendance right now. If you're live streaming, kind of trying to figure out how many people are actually, watching worship online. You may have already figured out ways to do that. We have someone who looks online during worship to establish that, and then we kind of have an average that we have figured out over time is what we add. So if you have questions about that, I can talk about that more later. And I think Kathy has done some work on figuring that out as well. So if you do weekly education, whether on Sundays or other days, that goes in here. Oh, sorry, I jumped the gun. This is where the online attendance goes. And then if you have any attendance notes, so for instance, like if it was Easter, I would write Easter in here so that I have an understanding. Or if like we have a church camp out once a year, so our attendance is a little wonky on that Sunday, I might write that note in there so that when I go to look in a year and there's this weird spike happening either up or down, I understand what that spike means. I would not make extensive notes here. It'll be harder if they're extensive, but. And then they have a one little tiny spot for weekly giving. And this was a place where we sort of struggled because we designate offerings frequently. The good news for whoever's doing this is what the number you need is the deposit that goes in the bank. It does not matter what, if it's going to a certain thing, if it's going to the general church, it doesn't matter where it's going. It's the bottom line number that you want to put in there. In giving notes, I have found it to be helpful to write down reconciliation offering Sunday, or we have a Verizon wireless tower on our property and we get paid out large sums for that, so we would write that, or in fact you can see that in the background right here. She wrote in the giving notes that we deposited a Verizon payment right here. So just kind of little ideas of why giving would be particularly up or down on a given Sunday. Moving down to the reporting tab, the big one that you will probably want to look at when it comes time to do the yearbook reporting is going to be latest yearbook entry download. And so I did that for us, and then it gives me this little guy that's a little so this is a PDF that gives you last year's yearbook report that you turned in. So sometimes that's helpful when you're making the new yearbook report to see what you had to say about last time. Export yearbook PDF. So I did all of these, and what I came to with these top 3 is eventually, I think there will be more information in those, but right now I kept getting the same thing over and over again, which was my last year report. If you have a subscription, which I just found out yesterday, we do not. And all that is ordering the online subscription is $35 to the yearbook. You have access to like the whole yearbook on Alex. So that could be potentially very helpful. General ministry reports are, right, these are actual general ministry reports. Again, these pieces are things that you probably won't need to access a huge amount currently. Regional ministry reports are similar to the general ministry reports. It's the reports that are given for the General Assembly. So just know that those are there. My yearbook, this tab right here, is going to be the one that you will like to find in, is it February or March that we turn in yearbook reports, or January? It's one of the months in the year.
Generally, January, February, depending on the year.
Okay. So this will be soon an important piece to come to find. And it has, again, it has your current information in here, and is important to the general church. If you information that has changed, you can edit that at any time, but particularly in when we're doing those yearbook reports. And then it has ministers, and if you have congregational staff, which we don't, but musicians or secretaries, things like that, then that information will be important to add there. And then we have our past entries in here are helpful. If you I like to have pieces of paper in my hand, so I actually like that PDF, which has all of that information from past entries. But if you are better at saving the environment than I am, you probably don't need that. So to edit any of the information, you would click on Edit Entry and can go through and adjust any of that. And I believe, yep, here we go. So then you have your staff, which you can add all the staff, not just the pastoral staff. And then you have a Submit tab. And this is just, they want your information in case there are questions about anything that's been entered. Okay, finally, well, not really, but is the settings. So we can go in here, particularly if you are one of the folks who, like Portsmouth Union, we have your account attached to an email address that's no longer working for the church. So once we get all of that information and can log in, then we can change the username. We do that in the settings tab over here. And you can change your password as well if you'd prefer to have a different password than the one that they've given to you. And I should probably change my name sometime, but I'll do that later. If you get stuck, this help button right here will send you to the denominational website that has videos about Alex on it, and those can help you. The print archive, I don't have access to because you have to have a subscription in order to have access to that. but I'm assuming it will tell you what all you've printed. For me, that's not much. And then your logout tab is down here. All right, that is a general summary of what all happens and what all you can do on alex.disciples.org.